Analysts in Jerusalem pointed out that the statement was less about Qatar's willingness and more about US resolve to keep the mediation framework intact. Without Qatar, there is no functional channel to Hamas. One regional expert noted, Washington knows this and Israel knows this. The challenge is whether Doha feels it can still act without becoming a target itself. The Israeli strike in Doha, which marked the first time Hamas leaders were attacked so openly on Qatari soil, has introduced a new layer of complexity. Gulf capitals worry that their neutrality is being undermined, while Western diplomats fear that the collapse of Qatar's mediation would leave no viable pathway toward de-escalation. Rubio's visit to Jerusalem came as part of a broader diplomatic push by the United States to maintain pressure on both Hamas and its backers, while offering reassurances to Israel that Washington remains firmly committed to its security. His presence alongside Netanyahu was a reminder that despite tensions over tactics, the strategic partnership endures. Behind the podium, the two leaders fielded questions about the trajectory of the war, humanitarian concerns, and the potential role of other mediators, such as Egypt and Turkey. Yet it was Rubio's direct reference to Qatar that captured the spotlight. Marco Rubio said, "The United States will continue to encourage Qatar to play a constructive role in efforts to free all hostages and end the war in Gaza." By repeating the point, Rubio underscored the centrality of Doha's role, signaling that Washington sees no alternative framework capable of producing results. For Netanyahu, the press conference was also a chance to reassure domestic audiences that international diplomacy was still aligned with Israel's objectives, even as protests and political divides intensify within Israel itself. The Gaza war, now dragging deep into its latest phase, has become not only a test of military endurance, but also of diplomatic patience. Families of hostages continue to demand answers, aid organizations warn of catastrophe, and regional powers weigh the costs of involvement. Against this backdrop, Rubio's visit highlighted the narrow path the United States and Israel must tread, keeping pressure on Hamas while preventing the collapse of the very mediation channels they depend upon. As cameras flashed and officials prepared to leave the podium, the atmosphere reflected both determination and unease. The words spoken in Jerusalem will ripple across Gulf capitals and diplomatic corridors in Washington, Cairo, and Brussels. The message was unmistakable. The United States sees Qatar not as optional, but as essential. Whether Doha continues to accept that role, however, remains to be seen.